This is part one of a three-part set of videos I'll be making talking about game analysis. In this video, I'll be talking about the difference between game criticism and game analysis. Now, game criticism is something we see a lot of, and it's a genre we're more familiar with. My definition of game criticism is basically what you see on most gaming news websites, magazines, or TV shows. Like movie reviews, this genre usually assigns a score to a video game that determines the quality of the game itself. But how does the reviewer come to their final decision? What factors make a game good or bad? It's easier to determine a bad game from a good game when it doesn't meet certain technological or design standards. Here's where we get to the heart of what a game review is. A typical game review focuses on a handful of categories to judge a game's quality. The categories I've selected, determined by a collection of several game review websites, are graphics, gameplay, sound and music, length, replayability, and story and plot. The various combination of these factors determine the final score of a game, and the categories work as a balance scale that determine the game's quality as determined by the review. What's interesting about game reviews is that they adopt a grade scale similar to what we see in academia. Games are assigned a number of letter grades that determine their quality. Reviews are there to help gamers make a good investment. Game critics determine the value of a game by comparing it to the values the video game industry holds. Game analysis, however, delves deeper than a simple game review. A game analysis takes the components of a game and analyzes how they resonate or reflect societal, cultural, psychological, and other scholarly values. Game analysis offers more than game criticism's method of summarizing and critiquing the components of a game. This may seem like an obvious difference, but when I asked my own students to analyze a video game using the theories, strategies, and terms we had learned about in our English composition class, they were confused and a little afraid about what to say. I'm sure there are some teachers out there that may be hesitant to allow students to write about video games, and even more so hesitant to read and discuss video games in a composition classroom. Let's get rid of this stigma by addressing what video game analysis is composed of. Video game analysis can work within two theoretical lenses: ludology and narratology. It's possible to have a game analysis that uses both of these theoretical lenses. In fact, it should be encouraged. An intersectional and layered game analysis incorporates several categories used to determine a game's quality as a text, a medium, a genre, and an artifact worthy of its field and its industry. Game analysis should be concerned with the game's factors as they affect the other contributing properties of the game. In my next video, I'll go deeper into the categories I've organized which may be a part of a game analysis. Each of these categories are able to be mixed and matched with each other, creating a layered analysis of the game. For now, here's an example of these categories. In a design narrative approach, a character's personality should be reflected in the gameplay. If a character identifies as a pacifist, a design narrative analysis may look at the game's mechanics representing the character's personality. Game analysis also takes the content of a game and makes social connections. They bring those games into a larger ongoing conversation. Similar to the way a writer performs research and analyzes a film or novel or other text, this level of interaction with the game enriches the experience. It widens the conversation surrounding the game and leaves it open for infinite interpretations. By including others in this conversation, the game's value deepens. It isn't just a form of entertainment, but a rich cultural artifact. And by including others into the fold, games have the potential to evolve beyond a standard interpretation and expand its capabilities not just technologically, but intellectually and socially as well. Encourage your students, and I encourage you, to take part in this conversation. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next installment of my video series, where I'll go deeper and more in depth into performing multi-layered game analyses.